As always, we're going to take a look at the latest things happening in the world of cinema. We're going to see what impact the simultaneous release of The Odyssey and Spider-Man has had on movie theaters. Over the past week, on Saturday and Sunday, the weekend, The Odyssey made $50 million, Spider-Man made $360 million, and every other movie still playing in theaters made only around $20 million combined. Altogether, $430 million was made on the final day of the weekend, making it the busiest and highest-grossing day in the history of cinema. Nothing like this had ever happened before. Movie theaters had never made $430 million in a single day. After several weeks, some of the attention finally shifted away from The Odyssey and towards Spider-Man, because in just 6 days, its total box office passed $1 billion. That made it the second fastest film in history to reach $1 billion. The only film to get there faster was Avengers Endgame, which reached that figure in 5 days. Considering that Spider-Man had a budget of $180 million, it had already become profitable on its very first day. On its opening night alone, it made $360 million and broke the record for the biggest opening in cinema history. That meant it beat Avengers Endgame in one category, and Spider-Man now holds the record for the biggest opening of all time. Its total box office has now reached $1.155 billion, and after just 1 week in theaters, it became the highest-grossing film of 2026. The Russo brothers, the directors of Avengers Endgame, also reacted to Spider-Man breaking their record. They posted an image on Instagram that said, "The Infinity Gauntlet is yours now." Audiences were happy with the movie too, and it received an A cinema score. Now, there's something really interesting about Spider-Man. Its marketing campaign was worth $300 million, but here's the interesting part. Sony and Marvel paid almost none of it themselves. Most of it came through partnerships with other brands. Spider-Man partnered with a total of 160 brands, and those other brands paid the advertising costs. The biggest one was Samsung, which launched a huge campaign to promote its foldable phone and used Spider-Man in the campaign. Samsung covered all the costs. The phone itself is even in the movie. It's shown several times. They actually created an app that supposedly lets you track Spider-Man, and the phone running that app is a Samsung. BMW is involved too, and McDonald's displayed Spider-Man imagery alongside McDonald's products in every one of its branches around the world. This massive marketing campaign was worth $300 million, and other brands paid for it. Another interesting thing they did was make Spider-Man the first film ever shot specifically for ScreenX theaters. That means there isn't just a screen in front of you, there are screens on both sides of the audience as well, giving you a 360-degree field of view instead of 180. The film's environment is expanded using artificial intelligence. In other words, they didn't shoot all of that during production, they extended it afterward with AI. Some of our channel's viewers actually watched the movie on one of these screens. The only thing the filmmakers did was design the action scenes and chase sequences from the very beginning so that they would work properly on those theater screens. During the film's release in the United States, one theater seriously messed up and accidentally played an erotic movie for a room full of children. They had gone there to watch Spider-Man, and most of the kids were under 13. The wrong movie played for several minutes, and somehow nobody noticed until the parents finally realized what was happening, stepped in, and brought the whole screening to a halt. Kevin Feige also spoke about Spider-Man and said, "We'll definitely make a 5th movie, but we're not going to rush into it because both Tom Holland and Zendaya have announced that they won't act in any films in 2027. Zendaya and Tom Holland appeared in some of the biggest movies of 2026. They've basically spent the whole year walking red carpets. Zendaya appeared in The Odyssey, Dune Part 3, and Spider-Man 4. Tom Holland appeared in Spider-Man 4, The Odyssey, and the first upcoming Avengers movie. They have confirmed that they will definitely make another Spider-Man. There will probably be another 3 or 4 year gap between the two films. Spider-Man was also leaked illegally on X for almost 9 hours in perfectly watchable quality, and 6 million people watched it during those 9 hours. Even so, the leak didn't have any negative effect on the film's box office. The account that leaked it has now been suspended, the person behind it has been identified, and they're facing legal action. Tom Holland also said something interesting on the red carpet. He said, "I didn't like the original version of the movie at all. Honestly, I was embarrassed that I had even acted in it. Then the script kept getting revised, they kept calling us back, and we kept reshooting scenes. They changed the story so much that I'm finally happy with the version that's now in theaters." Then he said, "I know exactly when I'm going to step away from the role of Peter Parker. I also know exactly how it's going to happen and how I'm going to hand my suit over to the next Spider-Man. Remember, Kevin Feige said they had planned out the next 20 years. Clearly, Tom Holland's eventual departure was fully planned 5 or 6 years ago too. They're also making the most of social media. The cast and crew constantly post videos of themselves that go viral online. For example, the entire cast got together and wished their fans a happy Spider-Man Day. August 1st is Spider-Man Day. Why? Because Spider-Man made his first appearance in the Amazing Fantasy comic in 1962 on that date. It's basically Spider-Man's birthday. Kids often dress up as Spider-Man on that day, and Spider-Man movies are usually released around the same time of year. Marvel itself officially designated it Spider-Man Day. Another video they made go viral featured Zendaya recreating Tobey Maguire's famous dance from the original Spider-Man movies, which of course led to people joking on social media that Tobey Maguire dances better than Zendaya. Andrew Garfield got caught up in the excitement too and said he'd really love to play Spider-Man again. He did say though that he's getting older, so the script would have to be absolutely incredible. If it were something strange, unpredictable, and completely out of the ordinary, he'd love to make a third Spider-Man movie of his own. Aside from Spider-Man, The Odyssey is still charging ahead. It has only been in theaters for 16 days, and its worldwide box office has already reached $930 million. Don't compare its sales to Spider-Man under any circumstances. The Odyssey is an R-rated film, so it automatically loses a significant portion of its potential audience. At the rate it's selling, it will soon become the highest-grossing R-rated movie in cinema history and could even break Deadpool's record. Because so many of its screenings are in IMAX, people still can't get tickets. Every ticket for the next 3 weeks has already been booked. Last week, our viewers started sending in more stories from the Middle East, too. The most interesting one came from Oman, where everyone was sitting in the theater wearing traditional caps. Another interesting promotional idea used by The Odyssey is that people who watch the movie in person receive a small piece of actual film stock, real IMAX film stock. Some theaters have also placed real IMAX film reels outside the auditorium, so audiences can see just how enormous the reel projecting the movie actually is. The Odyssey has performed so well that its IMAX run was originally supposed to end on August 19, but IMAX extended it. It will now stay in theaters until September 16 so that these long lines can finally begin to die down. The promotional campaign is still going full force. The cast was in South Korea last week, and Charlize Theron's photos attracted a lot of attention on social media. In general, the cast's fashion and style were all over the news. Christopher Nolan was the only one who looked like he didn't really care about clothes or appearances. He seemed to pair together whatever happened to be within reach. It was also Christopher Nolan's 56th birthday. The cast got him a birthday cake, and Nolan turned 56. The wave created by The Odyssey's success has been so enormous that California's oldest movie theater, which is more than 100 years old and had been closed for 35 years, reopened after all that time. Business is booming so much that even this theater was saved, and it has now been converted into a 70mm IMAX theater. Another interesting effect of The Odyssey was that the number of active players in Assassin's Creed Odyssey doubled over the past week. What does that have to do with anything? Who knows? But somehow the movie affected that too. Because of all this, an old interview with the head of Netflix went viral again on social media, and people mocked him for saying a few years ago that the era of movie theaters was over and that people would rather sit at home and watch movies. People were comparing that claim with the numbers. In just the past week, movie theaters made $1.3 billion at the box office. Universal also became the highest-earning studio of 2026 after reaching $4 billion in revenue this year. Just look at how much damage Warner Bros. Did to itself when Nolan left the company and moved to Universal. Now with The Odyssey and Spider-Man competing against each other, their scores have also attracted attention on social media because of how similar they are. Both films received almost the same scores from critics and audiences. Nolan also faced a new wave of criticism. Apparently, he changed the film's ending from the book. One critic said that a film like Mel Gibson's Apocalypto puts you inside the mind of a Mayan, and The Northman puts you inside the mind of a Viking. However, The Odyssey doesn't put you inside the mind of someone who lived in ancient Greece. It puts you inside the mind of a liberal woman from 2017. Why are they saying that?
because apparently, at the end of the original story, Odysseus was supposed to kill several people, and some of them were apparently women. Nolan said, "I deliberately changed that because I wanted my hero to remain a hero. If he had done that, it would have been a misogynistic act, so I had to change the ending."
For our next story, let's move on to the new movies and series that are on the way. Last week, we got several updates about older films that are getting new installments. One of them was Barbie. Warner Bros. Announced that a second film is definitely happening. The screenplay is being written, and the original team, including Greta Gerwig, Margot Robbie, and Ryan Gosling, are negotiating to return to their previous roles. However, David Zaslav, the head of Warner Bros., said they had raised their salaries so much for the sequel that paying them that kind of money would be an incredibly foolish move. Based on that comment, it's obvious they still haven't agreed on money. Now we'll have to wait and see what figure finally convinces them to make Barbie 2. Ready Player One was another film they insisted would definitely get a sequel. Believe it or not, they've been writing the script for 8 years, and after all that time, it still isn't finished. It remains in development, and they keep announcing that production on the sequel will begin soon. Tangled isn't getting another animated installment either. They're making a live-action version instead. In other words, they're turning the original animated movie into a live-action film, and new behind-the-scenes images were released, which means filming is now underway. Those Tangled set photos were shared online. We could see the actors playing Rapunzel, Mother Gothel, and the male lead, along with how the sets are being designed and how they're transforming the town to make it look like the one in the Tangled animation. Filming is taking place in Spain, and Michael Gracie, the director of The Greatest Showman, is directing this film too. What's interesting is that over the past few years, almost every time Disney has released an image from one of its new movies, people online have mostly criticized it. Tangled was different. You could say that nearly everyone who saw the behind-the-scenes images on social media was happy with what they saw. The film is scheduled for summer 2027. There was also a very important update about a TV series, God of War. In last week's news, we said that the actor playing Kratos had been injured, and the injury was so serious that his recovery would take an entire year. As a result, they replaced him altogether, and now they're going to reshoot everything from the beginning. According to unofficial reports, Dave Bautista is now in talks with Amazon and wants to play Kratos, although he hasn't officially been cast yet. One challenge Amazon faces is Bautista's age and whether he can return to bodybuilding and rebuild that heavily muscular physique. He may not be able to pull it off. Amazon also announced that after filming on Season 1 is completed, they will replace the actor playing Kratos' son for Season 2. This happened because so many people on social media complained that the current actor looked far too young. The writers responded that his role in the first season is small, while he becomes a major character in Season 2. That's when they'll cast the main actor for the role. The new Kratos actor will be announced within the next 4 months, and filming on Season 1 will begin with him. Amazon has another major announcement planned 4 months from now because the James Bond producers have officially said that they will reveal the new James Bond actor by the end of 2026, which is exactly 4 months away. Apparently, James Bond and Kratos are going to be introduced at around the same time. We also heard news about 2 new movies. One was One Night Only, starring Callum Turner and Monica Barbaro. Its red carpet and a preview screening for critics were held. Dua Lipa also attended the red carpet as Callum Turner's partner. The movie has attracted a lot of attention on social media because of its visuals. Its trailer alone has received nearly 30 or 40 million views on YouTube, meaning it may have been watched more than 100 million times across all platforms. However, when critics saw the movie, they didn't like it. It received a score of 51 on Rotten Tomatoes, which is very weak, and a 41 on Metacritic. They said it was a romantic comedy with an extremely repetitive story and nothing new to say. The film is scheduled for release within the next week or two. New images also arrived from another fantasy movie, Wicker. The story of this one is seriously bizarre, and that strange premise is exactly why its trailer attracted so much attention on social media. The film follows a fisherwoman who goes to her town's basket weaver and asks him to weave her a husband, literally to weave a husband for her out of wicker. The basket weaver is played by Peter Dinklage, and he does such an incredible job making her a husband that every woman in the village becomes jealous of the fisherwoman. A lot of people are now waiting to see this film purely because the story is so bizarre. It's scheduled to hit theaters on October 30.
Several other updates about upcoming movies involved Marvel. One that attracted a lot of attention on social media concerned Samara Weaving, whom you may have seen in Ready or Not or Scream 6. Marvel has cast her in the X-Men reboot. She's going to play the White Queen. If you remember the previous X-Men films, there was a character who could transform her entire body into something like Diamond, making herself almost impossible to hurt. She's far more famous and popular in the comics. A lot of fans on social media were happy with Samara Weaving being chosen for the role. The new X-Men film series will be rebooted by Jake Schreier, the same person who directed Thunderbolts.
Indy Navarrete, the actress you know from the movie Obsession, is also in talks with Marvel to play Mystique in this universe. Mystique is the character previously played by Jennifer Lawrence. Indy Navarrete also did something interesting last week. She deleted every one of her old videos from Twitch. When people asked her why, she said, "Those videos were from before I became famous. I got scared that people might see them and not take me seriously." Clearly, she's trying to build a new public image and approach both her media presence and acting career in a much more professional way. Indy Navarrete is also a serious gamer. We've talked about her on the channel before. In a new interview, she said she would really love to join the Resident Evil universe as well. In other words, she wants to take on a role in one of the new projects currently being developed in that franchise. You can tell from the way she's approaching her career that she wants to become an actress who appears in adaptations of video games. There were also several stories about Marvel cancellations. Wonder Man, which had already been renewed for a second season, was suddenly dropped. It has officially been canceled, even though the cast and crew were already getting ready to begin filming Season 2. Kevin Feige said, "We've decided that we're no longer going to spend money on series with small audiences." Last week, Marvel also said it was no longer making Blade, and Mahershala Ali was angry with them. He gave an interview last week and said, "You signed a contract with me and wasted 7 years of my time. Your company has billions of dollars. If it truly wanted to make this movie, it could, but you simply didn't want to." He said he was upset, but also relieved that he was finally free from the audience constantly asking him, "When are you making Blade?" Now he can finally relax because nobody will ask him anymore. The movie simply isn't happening. There was also a major update from the world of video games. Elden Ring, written and directed by Alex Garland, has finally finished filming after a 4-month shoot. 4 months is a very long production schedule for a movie. Oppenheimer, for example, was shot in just 50 days. Where did this news come from? One of the film's graphic designers posted an image of a special message on social media. The message was addressed to Alex Garland, the director, and thanked every member of the cast and crew and praised their work. That's how people realized filming had wrapped. A few minutes later, the message was deleted. The guy's entire Instagram account was even taken down, but by then, it was too late. Everyone already knew that production was over. Elden Ring is the biggest and most ambitious project in A24's history. The studio has spent $100 million on it. Alex Garland said he completed the game 7 times and, without anyone even commissioning him, wrote a 160-page screenplay. 40 of those pages were concept art and visual material explaining what the film was supposed to look like. He later took it to the game's creator, the head of the company behind the game, and A24, and they agreed to make the film. You may know Alex Garland from Ex Machina. Elden Ring will probably be released in theaters next year. Another interesting story from last week involved a new movie that was stolen. A not very famous British production company made a film starring Nicolas Cage called Fortitude about a deception operation during World War II. They spent $45 million on it and wanted to sell it to Netflix. They mailed it to Netflix's office on a hard drive with no password. Last week, thieves broke into the office and stole every piece of computer equipment they could find. The total value of the equipment may not even have been more than a few $1,000s, but that hard drive with the entire movie on it was stolen too. Netflix executives then messaged the company behind the film and said, "Sorry, your movie was stolen." The company sued Netflix and demanded $105 million in damages. The thieves carried out a robbery that may have been worth only a few $1,000s, but without even realizing it, they now have an important movie worth tens of millions of dollars sitting on one of those drives, and Netflix may now have to pay for the loss. For our next stories, let's move on to the celebrities. James Cameron, the director of the Avatar movies, has now officially announced that he's getting too old and wants to step away from directing. In other words, he wants to retire.
He said he's leaving the world of Avatar behind entirely. The final movie he plans to make is called Ghosts of Hiroshima, which will tell the true story of a Japanese man who survives the atomic bombing.
Cameron says this will be his final film and the way he says goodbye to cinema. Of course, James Cameron has said things like this several times before and then returned to directing anyway. We'll have to see whether he's serious this time. Either way, he really is getting quite old. Vincent Pastore, a veteran actor who appeared in The Sopranos and Goodfellas, also passed away at the age of 80. That means only 2 of those Sopranos actors are now left. Perhaps the most talked about celebrity story of the past week involved Ariana Grande. The singer and actress released a music video for her new album online, and in the video, she looked so extremely thin and bony that many viewers became genuinely concerned. First, people criticized those around her, saying, when this singer is in such poor condition, both mentally and physically, why are you forcing her to keep working just to make money? People argued that those around her want to keep her working at any cost because she earns money and they get a share of it. They also said she was setting a bad example for others. If she looks this thin, young girls may try to copy her. The criticism became so intense that Ariana Grande released a statement saying, "You've focused so much attention on me over this that I'm going to try to stop working for a while." She said she would step away from the public eye for some time. She is currently on a concert tour and naturally she has to finish it. It's called Eternal Sunshine. Once that ends, she'll stop working for a while. She was also supposed to appear in a stage production soon, but because of all the criticism, she is completely withdrawn from it. Her concert tour ends on September 1st, which is about 2 or 3 weeks away. Now we'll have to see whether she can return to her peak form or not. Russell Crowe, who is now 62, is in exactly the opposite situation. For a very long time, this actor wasn't taking much care of himself and wasn't in particularly good shape. He is currently starring in 2 films and he needs to be physically fit for both of them. One is Highlander, in which he co-stars with Henry Cavill. He plays a master swordsman while Henry Cavill plays his student. That means he needs to be in shape for that role. The film is scheduled to release later in 2026. He's also starring in another movie with a very gladiator-like atmosphere. It tells the story of an aging, peace-loving warrior whose territory is about to be invaded by the Roman Empire. After years away from combat, he's forced to pick up his sword and go to war once again. Crowe has now started a new training program with his fitness coach, who is a very famous wrestler, and he is rebuilding a physique like this while filming at the same time. He is currently in Spain training and getting back into shape while the movie is being shot. Speaking of celebrities changing their appearance, an image of Billie Eilish went viral online. The singer is currently acting in a movie called The Bell Jar, which is based on a very famous novel. The director is Sarah Polley. She's a director, and Billie Eilish is starring in her film. The makeup changed Eilish's face so much that her image went viral online. The film is scheduled to hit theaters in 2027. Our final celebrity stories involve 2 interesting charity projects. The first one involved Paul Walker's daughter. A charity organization contacted her for the 25th anniversary of the Fast and Furious franchise. They offered a Toyota for sale that looked very similar to Paul Walker's car in Fast and Furious, the one he drove in his farewell scene with Vin Diesel. The car only resembled the one in the film. It had never actually been used on set. The person who bought it paid far more than its real value, and the money went to Paul Walker's own charity. Walker's Foundation works on environmental and ocean-related causes. Remember, Paul Walker also starred in a film called Into the Blue, which was all about the sea. The foundation's main activity is providing scholarships to young people who want to study subjects related to the environment. The money raised here will be used for that kind of work. Another similar project involved Leonardo DiCaprio and Jeff Bezos. The 2 of them launched a fund with $200 million in it. That's how much money they contributed. The goal of the fund is to gather 100 endangered species from 30 countries around the world and bring them into a protected environment where they will no longer face extinction. For our next segment, let's move on to the box office. There isn't much to explain. The box office belongs to Spider-Man and the Odyssey. Spider-Man made $449 million in the United States alone, bringing its worldwide total to $1.155 billion. The Odyssey was in second place with $93 million, bringing its overall total to $930 million. Then all of a sudden, there's a massive gap. Toy Story made $12 million, Minions made $11 million, and Moana made $10 million. Those films took 3rd through 5th place, even though all 3 have been in theaters for almost a month. Among them, Toy Story was the most successful, with a total worldwide box office of $1 billion. Minions also did well with $452 million, while Moana became a commercial failure with just $263 million. Now, let's move on to our final segment, Toxic News. Our first toxic story is about Jeffrey Dean Morgan's donkey. Yes, his actual donkey, and how it somehow became a news story. A long time ago, when social media was first taking off, he posted an image of a donkey being born. People became so fond of that donkey that it started appearing in many of Morgan's posts. Fans constantly asked how it was doing, and whenever he went a while without posting it, the comments would fill up with people asking, "Where is he? Why haven't we seen him?" Eventually, after all these years, the donkey died of old age. Jeffrey Dean Morgan announced the news himself and said, "I have no words. He was a beautiful boy who passed away without ever realizing he was a donkey. He spent his entire life thinking he was my son." Our second toxic story concerns Bradley Cooper's mother. I don't know whether you've ever seen her, but she looks so unlike Bradley Cooper that you're genuinely surprised when you see them together. She looks nothing like her own son. Bradley Cooper told a story about how his mother loves Turkish TV dramas, especially Erkenci Kuş, also known as Daydreamer. He said she had watched all 360 episodes, though I have no idea whether the series even has that many episodes. Either way, Bradley Cooper thinks she's watched 360 of them. He said, "The first time I saw my mom watching a Turkish series, I asked her, 'Mom, what are you watching?' She said, 'See this guy?' Then she pointed at Can Yaman and said, 'He's the best actor in the world.'" Remember, this is Bradley Cooper's own mother saying that a Turkish TV actor is the best actor in the world. Our third toxic story is even more ridiculous. Jon Bernthal, who currently appears in both Spider-Man and The Odyssey, made a comment so wildly toxic it's in a category of its own. He said that people being afraid of pit bulls is racism. According to him, saying that one breed of dog is scarier than other breeds is wrong, and we need to leave this kind of dog racism behind, because being afraid of one specific breed is ridiculous. He said all of this without having taken any kind of substance whatsoever, because all it takes is one pit bull sinking its teeth into your leg for you to understand that people have a reason to be afraid, and it has nothing to do with racism. Alright friends, that's it for this week's video. I hope you found it interesting. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like the video. Until next week's video, goodbye. Yeah.